So, you've always felt that this was going to happen.
What, fight for the heavyweight title or fight in MSG?
Well, I mean, they're both the same thing, really. You always felt that you were destined for greatness, that you were going to be in this position. This is not because of John Jones injuring himself. That's kind of, leapfrogged, maybe jumped the queue or, sped things up. But you were always going to be here.
That's what I believe. That is honestly what I believe. Like, I feel like I'm going to be heavyweight champion of the world. And I didn't know if that's going to be this weekend or in 5 years or like at some point I'm going to be heavyweight champion of the world before this career is over. So yeah, I didn't expect it to be, I got the call on 2.5 weeks notice. I didn't expect it to be this weekend, but I still think I'm going to win.
Well, before we get into all that, obviously we're both from the northwest of England.
Yep.
Beautiful place. Humble background, humble beginnings. Now you're here, one of the biggest cities on planet Earth, in the most iconic arena, fighting for the most prestigious belt in all of combat sports. Tom, if you win, you're going to be the baddest man on the planet, aka, as we would say from our neck of the woods, the hardest man on the planet. No man alive can beat you in a combat fight.
Yeah, I would agree. I definitely agree. But, there's still John Jones lurking around there, but who knows if he's going to come. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know him personally or anything like that. But I honestly think I can win. I'm not going to show up to a fight, fly across the world and sign a contract if I don't think I'm going to win. So obviously I'm here to win and nothing else.
Let's go back a little bit though. Last year against Curtis Blades, right? You went out there. We all know what happened. You injured your knee. You had some time out. We've spoke at length about this, but for people that weren't privy to those conversations, tell me about some of your darkest times.
I mean, being injured as a professional athlete is one thing. I mean, being injured in general, it's not a good spot to be in. It's quite depressing. It hurts, especially when you have surgery, mate. My leg was all busted up. I couldn't walk. My knee was all swollen up. To be injured as a professional athlete is something that I'm obsessed with training. I love training, train twice a day, regardless of if I've got a fight or not. Being unable to do that and not knowing when I'm going to be able to train and fight again, it's difficult, mate, mentally. And for it to happen in front of like literally millions of people on a massive fight, like that was the biggest fight in my career at the time, a massive fight in front of the O2 Arena, home fans and everything, mate, it was some of the most depressing times of my life. Yeah, I'm not even just going to say career. No. It was some of the most depressing times in my life. But to be honest with you, now, like a year and a half later, I'm really, really glad it happened because my life's so much better because of it.
Well, I was going to say, do you feel that in a funny, weird, roundabout way, that it was always meant to be because you had that time away?
Yeah.
It made you realise how much you would miss the sport, how much, the sport meant to you. And being away from it, when you came back, you told me that you were a different version of yourself, more disciplined and even hungrier to find yourself in a position like this.
I honestly didn't realise how much I wanted it until it was almost taken away from me.
Yep.
And I know that sounds a bit sad and superficial, and I was definitely hungry before, but when it's almost taken away and you're literally left with a choice, because there were some times there when I was like, I'm not sure if I want to do this anymore. And them thoughts almost like pushed me further to be like, right, I really want to do it now. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, it was just, I was in such a dark spot for a few days there, and honestly, I felt like I could have retired and just quit. And I think when you're in that kind of mindset and you come back from it just gives you so much confidence.
Well, when you did come back, I mean, your confidence was sky high. You looked, and I've said this, and I'll still stand by it, I thought you looked like a Muhammad Ali in there. The movement was absolutely phenomenal. You were so agile, and you always have been, but you looked better than ever. You didn't look like you were coming back from a year off, and the performance was unbelievable, and the finish was spectacular. I mean, talk us through that moment.
Well, I got 2 legs now, mate, so it's excellent.
Comes in handy.
I can move around really well on them. I think I'm definitely I think I move even better than most middleweights, to be honest. I'm not like blowing my own trumpet, I'm being honest.
I mean, I had good movement.
I think that's a bit better, to be honest.
Well, you got 2 eyes.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I'm bumping into walls.
No, I'm trying to be like the best mover that the heavyweight division has ever seen. And I think I'm well on my way to doing it. But yeah, I just feel like I've got 2 legs now. I feel like all my personal life is really good. Like everything's geared towards
success.
Yeah, exactly.
Being dialed in,
whereas
focused.
Before I was a bit like in between being like a normal person and being like one of the best heavyweights ever. And since the injury, I just wanted to put all my focus, everything. I mean, I've always trained hard, but it's not, mate, this is something that I'm realising now, especially as I'm getting older and more experienced. Like, everybody in the UFC trains hard, mate. You can't just train hard and expect good results. You have to be smart. It's about how you're living outside the gym. It's about how you're living your lifestyle, the people you surround yourself with, your training situation, your training partners, your personal relationships. Everything has to be geared towards your goals. It can't just be like, yeah, I train really hard, and then you're going out drinking every night, you're getting chips on the weekend, and you can't be doing stuff like that.
Fries. For the Americans.
Apologies, yeah.
Come on, they're not all from Lancashire.
I know, sorry, but you know what I mean. It's like
chips and gravy.
The chips and gravy.
They are good though.
Absolutely love them, mate.
Chips and gravy or chips and curry sauce?
I like chips and gravy personally, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you like gravy on your fish and chips?
That's controversial, isn't it? But I actually like it, yeah.
Peas?
No peas.
No peas.
No.
Anyway, enough of that. I said after your last win that you would smoke John Jones. Now, you always said you wanted to slow roll it. You wanted to take your time. You wasn't in a rush. Certainly that's changed.
Yeah.
But when I said, I think Tom Aspinall is the future of the heavyweight division, I think he smokes John Jones. Did you think yes, 100%? Or did you think, hold on, Mike, I appreciate that, but I don't know if I'm ready for that?
I wouldn't say I'd smoke him because I've got a lot of respect for John Jones. I think John Jones is one of the best.
As do I.
He's one of the best fighters ever to grace the octagon. But I think I can beat him, yeah?
Yeah.
And I think that if I didn't have that mindset, mate, it's really difficult. I know that you understand what I'm saying because you were obviously a champion yourself. But I think that some people like watching this or watching film of fighters' interviews and stuff, they'll look at it and think, he's so cocky, like, he's just, you have to think like that. Like, why would I be here fighting in Madison Square Garden against one of the most dangerous guys in the UFC if I didn't think I was going to win? Like, you have to believe stuff like I can beat John Jones. Otherwise, what's the point in doing this sport?
Confidence is the biggest weapon, but it can also be a detriment to a fighter, but it's absolutely imperative to have the confidence. Now, when I was younger, I always thought I would find myself in the position that I did. When did you have the realization, you know, as a young man, that hold on a minute, this is who I am, this is what I'm capable of, and this is what I'm going to do?
When I got to the UFC and started winning, realistically.
But what about as a young man? Because you're a big guy.
Yeah.
You used to work on doors.
Yeah.
You know, I know you're not a thug or anything like that. You're a very well-behaved man. But you've always been able to handle yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I just didn't know if I could compete at the top level.
Really?
When I started doing it, mate, under pressure, against really good guys, and especially like I fought Arlovsky when Arlovsky was on a 5-fight win streak, and obviously he's a former champion himself. When I beat him, I was like, oh, I'm pretty good. Like, I can beat anybody. And then I started beating other top guys. And yeah, I think once you get wins going and you get a bit of momentum behind you, like, it just solidifies the belief in yourself. I always thought I could do it. I didn't know until I started getting wins over guys like that.
So let's talk about momentum. 6-1 in the UFC, right? 6-1, and the one, let's be honest, is because you injured your own knee.
Yep.
Can't take away from Curtis Blades' achievement. You know, you both went in there. We know the rest. Sergey Pavlovich, 6-1 in the UFC as well. So there's a lot of similarities there. You finished all of your opponents in either the first round or the second round. He's finished all of his opponents as well.
Yep.
How does this fight go down?
A lot of similarities there, mate, isn't there?
A lot of similarities.
Listen to this stat as well. I'm the guy in the UFC with the shortest fight average. He's the guy in the UFC with the second shortest fight average.
Yeah.
That's wild, isn't it?
You're both the best finishers.
Yep.
You're both on 6-1 runs.
Well, someone's getting finished, aren't they? That's inevitable. Like, that goes without saying. I think that you can't look at Pavlovich's fights, mate, and be like, this is what he's bad at and this is what he's good at. Because so far in the UFC, he's barely put a foot wrong. You can't look at him and be like, right, this is where I'm going to take advantage. I think the biggest issue that he's got is I move unlike any other heavyweight. I do things completely different, completely unconventional to anyone else in the heavyweight division. So he needs to, I wouldn't say he just needs to be worried about me, but he's not going to be expecting things that I do. I don't just stand in front and bang flat-footed like a lot of these other heavyweights. I do multiple attacks, multiple fakes. I can grapple, I can strike, I can do all of it. So that's the biggest advantage I've got over him, is that he's no idea what I can really bring to the table.
So when you say he hasn't put a foot wrong, am I correct in thinking he threw a kick against Alistair over him?
He got tripped.
He got tripped.
So he was from a tie clinch, he tripped him.
So they were in the tie clinch.
Yeah.
Overeem trips him, gets top position, and finishes him.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you? Because you have a history of taking people down, and once they hit the ground, it's over.
Yeah.
It's a wrap. So do you fully believe that when you put Sergey Pavlovich down, if you can put Sergey Pavlovich down, that's the beginning of the end?
I don't know, because we've seen him for minimal time in the octagon on his back. Like you say, the short amount of time that we have seen, he's not looked great. I'll be honest. He got finished. He got knocked out from that spot. But at the same time, this is heavyweight MMA. It's a bad spot to be in at heavyweight, mate. Big guy like over him, raining down punches and elbows on you. It's difficult to get up. But if I put someone on the back, they're getting finished. Simple as that. Look at my career. Look at the fights that I've done. There's not many people get up once I put them there, and if they do, I return them straight away. And that's definitely an advantage that I've got, is if I put him on his back.
So obviously we're friends, but the crazy thing is that I got my title fight on 2.5 weeks' notice.
Wild.
You got yours on 2.5 weeks' notice, and as you've told people very kindly, I texted you straight away and I said it's not about the 2.5 weeks. It's about a lifetime of work. But Sergey Pavlovich has been preparing the whole time. Right? He was the backup fighter for Jones or Stipe if they fell out. One would assume that he's been working a lot of takedown defense because they're both wrestlers, working getting back to his feet. What do you think that he was working in that training camp? And what do you think in that preparation might cause issues for you?
Well, the thing with Stipe and Jones, they're both really good all-rounders, aren't they? So he's going to be working on his overall game. He's going to be good everywhere, mate. Like you say, he'll be working a lot, getting back to his feet. His game is a lot of forward pressure, a lot of punches in bunches. He's a big, strong guy. He's got awesome power in both hands. So, mate, I personally think he's the most dangerous guy in the UFC. Like you say, 2.5 weeks. That's not a training camp. I'm not bothered what anybody says.
No.
A training camp isn't 2.5 weeks. You got 1 week training and 1 week travelling. 1 week's fight week, so that's not a training camp. But as you said, the advice that has helped me so much, by the way. So I really appreciate that. I've been training, mate, 15 years. I've been doing this longer. I've been involved in martial arts, mate, since I was 8 years old. I'm 30. So this isn't about 2.5 weeks. Do you know what I mean? Ideally,
no, I know.
Ideally, I would have liked 10 weeks, but I've not got that. So I can't sit here and cry about it. I'm here. I'm expecting to win. So,
but the 2.5 weeks, that's more than long enough to switch this up.
Definitely.
To switch the mind on, to formulate a game plan, to take a quick look at him and say, hold on a minute, here's what I bring to the table. These are my skills. I believe in myself. And here is how I beat this man. And go in mentally prepared and confident.
And I think it actually works. I actually feel super relaxed this week, which usually on fight week I'm quite tense. And so far I feel quite relaxed. I'm like, I'm in New York, flew across the world, fighting the most dangerous guy for the heavyweight title, but I've not really had that much time to think about it, mate. I had to do me week or so training, sort my visa, and I'm here. I've not had 10 weeks to think about it and build it up to this big thing in my mind. I'm here, got a couple of days now, and I'm fighting on Saturday, so I think it works well for me mentally as well.
Man, I'm excited for you. I really am. So
it's going to be good.
So the game plan, if I'm coaching you, here's what I say. Here's what I say you do. You lie on your feet. Right? You like Muhammad Ali. You float like a butterfly. You sting like a bee. You move like the best middleweight on the planet.
Thank you.
His name was Michael Bisping. You get in, you use your jabs. You use your speed, in, jab, out. In and out movement, in and out movement. You have him swinging at fresh air. And then you level change, you shoot, you take him down. Does that sound like a game plan that you and your father have been talking about?
I'm not going to tell you, am I? I'll tell you off camera. But,
I mean, it's not exactly rocket science, let's be honest.
No, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to walk into the middle of the
Spinning
cage.
wheel kick?
I'm just going to walk into the middle of the cage and have an absolute bang out with him.
Oh,
have a war.
Yes.
That's exactly what
for
I'm
the
going
fans.
to do. For the fans.
For the fans, mate.
For the fans.
Never mind legacy.
Exactly that. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the same as every other opponent's done to him. I'm going to walk into the middle of the cage and start swinging with him.
Well, that would be lovely to see, but it wouldn't be advisable. And listen, no. To be fair, you could knock him out.
Of course.
You've got massive power.
Of course I do. I know.
You've sparred extensively with Tyson Fury. How many rounds?
Oh, hundreds.
Hundreds?
Yeah, hundreds.
Yeah. So you can handle yourself on the feet, but that's not the smart approach. You've got a high fight IQ.
I know.
You've got a lot of experience. You've got a lot of skill. You've got great wrestling. Where's the confidence levels at?
Oh, high. I honestly think that I'm one of the best finishers in the UFC.
I agree.
And as corny as it might sound, you've got to be in it to win it. And I'm here. So I've got a chance of winning, 100%. This heavyweight MMA, regardless of training camps and how long I've had to prepare and everything, mate, I'm here. And if I have to hit you once, And that's the same as he can do with me.
Yeah.
He has to hit me once, I have to hit him once as well. But if I'm not here, I've definitely got no chance of winning. So I'm here, and it takes one shot, mate, in this division.
I hate to bring myself back into it, but when I was fighting for my belt, I kept telling myself, this is my destiny.
Yep.
I was destined for this. Do you feel that this is your destiny?
That's what I've been saying all week, mate. That's exactly what I've been saying all week. It's almost like, I don't want to talk about manifesting and all that like woo-woo crap that people talk about, but I honestly think that everything has kind of subsided and moved itself around for me. And like I say, I don't sit in front of crystals and do a load of meditating and all that stuff, but I honestly think that it is my destiny to be in there on Saturday. There's no other place anywhere on earth than I would rather be than in the octagon, in this arena on Saturday night fighting Sergey Pavlovich. I can honestly, like, hand on heart, say there's nowhere else in the world or nothing else I'd rather be doing than in there on Saturday night.
You told me that you went to UFC 70 in Manchester.
Yep.
You went into the crowd. That was my first time fighting in the UFC in Manchester. You went into the crowd. You were watching the weigh-ins.
Yep.
A fighter walked out,
Yep.
got on the scale. You looked at him. You thought, oh, wow, this guy's amazing. I want to be this guy one day.
Yeah, it wasn't you.
That guy was Andrei Arlovski. I was devastated. I thought, whoa, he's bigging me up here. When you were in the crowd that day and you looked up, could you see yourself here?
Absolutely.
And by the way, you've beaten Arlovski now, as we all know.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's strange, mate, because I know, like, the guys behind the camera, most of them are American. But I know that you can relate to it, being a guy from the northwest of England. We're not told to think like that.
No, we're not. We're not.
It's suppressed from a young age.
Oh, God, Tom, you've hit on such a great thing.
I'm so lucky that I've got my dad, you know, because I feel like my dad kind of believed in me before I believed in myself, and he put them thoughts in my head, because I'm sure some other dad would have been like, listen, son, you go and do your own work and you know,
get a job down the factory.
Yeah, exactly, all that stuff.
Get your head out of the clouds.
Exactly, all that stuff. But my dad was always like, listen, you can do that one day if you want. You just got to believe in yourself. And that stuck with me since UFC 70, was it, or whatever it was. Like, that stuck with me. And I always saw myself up there one day. Mate, when I hear that crowd roaring, it's like I'm meant to be here, like I was born to be here. It's hard to explain, it sounds kind of corny, but I honestly feel like that's what I'm supposed to do.
I'm so glad you said that, though, because obviously I live out in the States now.
Yep.
And out there, it's all about self-belief and empowerment and
It's amazing.
ambition.
Yep.
And, you know, and people do speak about their dreams. And,
Yep.
you know, from where we're from, people think you're out of your mind.
Yep.
They think you're arrogant. They think you're confident. They think you're deluded
Yep.
to even dare to speak these kind of words. It's like, stop, this guy's out of his mind. Go and get a job down the factory, you know, and be humble. What are you talking about? But Here you are, proving everybody wrong. Bringing that belt back, bringing the heavyweight strap back to England, back to the UK. What's that going to mean to you?
Oh, mate, that's going to mean so much to me, honestly. Honestly, that's going to mean... I can't even put it into words what that'll mean. It's just massive. It's just absolutely massive. To be the first UK heavyweight champion. Only the third champion in the UFC from the UK, after, of course, you and Leon Edwards, who I look up to massively. Mate, that is something. That is something special, and I just can't wait for it.
What round?
Yeah, that's a good question.
You've had a habit of doing it in the first.
If I can get the fight done in the first 10 seconds, I absolutely will, every single time. But I'm not looking for that. Do you know what I mean? When I don't look for a finish, that's when the finishes come. Every single time, especially my last 3 or 4 fights have been main events or the 5-rounders. So I'm pacing myself in there. I'll be pacing myself in there on Saturday as well. I reckon second or third. I think I can finish him in the second or third. But if it's a 5-rounder, I'm happy with that as well. But mate, let's not get anything twisted here. If I can finish him with the first punch, I absolutely will.
You and your father, in my opinion, have one of the most beautiful relationships.
Thank you, mate.
That I truly
agree.
mean that. In all of combat sports, wherever you go,
Yep.
your father's there, and I know how much he's guided you, and obviously been a father and a mentor and a coach and all the rest of it. And he's been in it. He's been there every step of the way. What is rule number 1 Saturday night? What is the main thing that he's stressing to you over and over?
What my dad always says to me, I think my dad is honestly like a specialist in heavyweight MMA. Honestly, like, he knows, like, at the gym now where we train, it's only really heavyweights. So he's like a specialist in heavyweight MMA. And the general rule that he has is, don't get hit, don't let him get on top of you. They're the two general rules for heavyweight. So we're sticking with that, mate. We've got to stick with that. Defense is very, very important for like his philosophy. Obviously, my dad has been there since he literally took me to my first session. He's been, honestly, you can ask all the gyms I've ever been to. I've been in gyms all around the world. My dad is literally at every session, near enough, that I've ever done, from me being 8 years old to me being 30 years old. Mate, I would nowhere near be anywhere close to what I am now without him. So I'll listen to everything he says.
And rightly so. And of course, in the gym, you've got lots of heavyweights these days. You're getting pushed to the absolute limit. So, but let's look forward. Let's assume Saturday night, you get the hand raised, you bring the belt back. John Jones. Let's assume Jones and Stipe goes down next year.
Yep.
Would you want to get in there ASAP, as soon as possible? Do you want Jones to win? Do you want Stipe to win? Do you have a preference?
Well, I'm just a massive fan of both, to be honest. I would love to fight John Jones, mate. And that's absolutely no disrespect for John Jones. I'm such a fan. The reason I want to fight him so much is because I am such a fan. And he's one of the best ever, if not the best ever. And I want to test myself against that. Before this is all said and done, I would love to fight John Jones, 100%.
If you could beat John Jones, these are lots of ifs.
Yeah.
But there are lots of ifs that I truly believe are possible. You beat Sergey.
Yep.
You beat Jones. You go on a legendary run. You go down as the greatest heavyweight champion in the history of the UFC. Have you allowed your mind to go there?
Yes, plenty times.
Or are you going to be the greatest UFC
Yes.
heavyweight champion?
Yeah, I honestly think so. I honestly believe it. Again, we're going back to that deluded talk again, but I think you have to be a little bit deluded to be successful in anything. Not just MMA, in anything. You have to dream big and... Yeah. But first of all, mate, I've got a massive fight on Saturday. This guy is a seriously dangerous guy, so right now, I'm not thinking about that kind of stuff, but do I think I'll be one of the best heavyweights ever? Absolutely. Why else would I be doing it?
I think that's a great place to end this. Tom, I'm proud of you.
Thank you, mate.
I truly mean that.
Thank you, mate.
All the best.
Thank you.